Psalm 82, Hey Chet, which is the Psalm of the day for Tuesday. So everybody open up your Siddur, your Tanakh, whatever it is you have. Now, do people remember what the Psalms for Sunday and Monday were? But remember, if we go according to the days of the week. So what was the topic for Sunday and the topic for Monday? Does anybody remember?
Sunday, the glory of Hashem.
The glory of Hashem, and also about the heavens and earth. There was a little bit in there. God is king.
Right.
Do people remember that? You can look in a Siddur. It's easy. Then you have them all kind of at your fingertips, if that's what you wish. And then what was Monday, which we learned for 2 weeks?
The sea,
the majesty of the world.
The firmament, and I think that was actually Sunday. So Monday was what? Sorry, Judy, what?
About Yerushalayim too.
About Yerushalayim. Monday was a lot about Yerushalayim, although there were, I believe there were the boats be broken on the seas, something like that. So that was one of the psukim. So now we're going to, I wondered, like, if you were choosing a psalm for Tuesday, which is, I would say, arguably the middle of the week, of the work week. So it's interesting that we feel like there's a bit of a descent from the loftiness of talking about God and talking about Jerusalem to something a little heavier, very concrete. Mizmor Asaf, a psalm by Asaf. I didn't actually find out who Asaf is.
Which number is that, please?
82.
82. I thought you said 88. That's why it sounded strange. Thank you.
Well, also, you probably don't recognize 88 as much, Judy.
Right, exactly.
Somebody who davens, knows, who davens somewhat regularly would know which psalm it is. Right. So 82, Mizmor Asaf. If somebody can figure out who Asaf is, I don't know who Asaf is. I haven't found that out yet.
Oh, we could find out.
Any relation to Yosef with a similar kind of shorish and name? No.
I agree with you that there's a connection, that the root sounds the same, but I don't know why there would be a connection because of that. You know what I mean? Like to people who have similar sounding names, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a connection between them. But I don't know who Asaf is. I hear what you're saying. You're saying, is this like a variation of Yosef? I don't think anybody says that Yosef wrote Tehillim also.
I looked it up. I don't know how reliable this is. He was a Levi, a singer appointed by King David as chief leader in the choir.
Right? That works. That makes a lot of sense then, right?
Yes.
Okay, so remember we said that not all of the Psalms were written by King David. So this is an example. The Lamed means by. A little confusing, but that's what it means. I lost the place, going back again. Okay. Elohim nitzav ba'adat el, bekerev Elohim yishpot. God stands in the holy assembly of judges, and bekerev Elohim yishpot. It's very interesting that this is defined in different ways, because the word Elohim, who knows what Elohim means? There are different ways of translating Elohim.
It could be gods, like pagan gods, or it could be our Hashem, in which case
it could be God, our God. Hi, Felice. Right. We see your glasses and your hair, but we don't see your face. Welcome. Welcome, Elaine. Welcome, Helen. Welcome, Ellen. Welcome, Judy. So Elohim can mean a few things. It can mean, there we go. Elohim can mean our God. And often, by the way, Elohim, as opposed to the 4-letter Yud Ke Vav Ke, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, we often say that Yud Ke Vav Ke is connected to the attribute of mercy, whereas Elohim is connected to the attribute of din, of justice or of law. And remember, we said svakot, which we said last time, that has to do with war. Each one of them is associated differently and is used in different applications. So Elohim could be other gods, I agree, with lowercase g. But we have that, by the way, in Bereshit, B'nai Elohim, the sons of gods, that it's some sort of, we don't know, heavenly beings or children of other gods. But there's also another one. It's also used as judges, meaning the same way that God with the capital G can be, that's the attribute of judgment. So the lowercase g would mean Elohim. When we say it, it's in plural, but there's only one God, which is interesting. And that's for another discussion. But Elohim could be other gods, or it could be mortal judges. Everybody with me?
Yes. What does
yeah.
Bekerev mean?
In the midst of.
Oh, okay.
Bekerev Machaneh, in the midst, right? In the midst of the camp. Karov is close. Bekerev means in the midst of. So the way they translate it here is that God assesses the verdict of the court. So here, what it's doing is it's using the second Elohim as lowercase judges, and not God so much, but judges, not capital J, but lowercase. Everybody follow that? In the midst of those Elohim, the judges of the mortal judges, God will rule and judge them to see how their verdict is. So first we say that God is in the assembly, some holy assembly of judges, by the way. Adat El, an assembly of judges, a holy assembly. What does that mean? Does that mean angels? We don't know. So some of this is just left open for interpretation. But we already see that hi, Robert, and I guess Felice will come soon. Robert, we're doing a poll about whether people still like the topic of Tehillim, Psalms. Are you still interested in Tehillim? We're just trying to figure out if this is still a relevant topic for people. You're muted. You're muted.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's resounding yeses so far. I'm glad to hear that.
Is there a choice?
Is there a choice? Of course. What do you mean?
Oh, there's a lot to learn.
Suggestions, if you have suggestions.
Meaning the choice is, first of all, I want to think about what we'll learn after we finish with Tehillim. I'm not going to do it too much longer. So, but first we're going to finish the days of the week. We might as well. We're already on the 3rd, which is Psalm 82, by the way. And we've done most of the popular ones. But I just want to know, because it feels like attendance is lower, and I don't know if that's because people are just not interested in Psalms, which is fine. I would love to hear what people are interested in. So I want people to roll that around in their head. We still have a few weeks left, and we can decide if we want to. There might be a little break. I'm not sure. Maybe, and then maybe in February, I'm not sure. And then we can decide if we want a new topic. So something to think about. Okay. So even just on the second verse, we already know that the topic of this psalm is going to be something about judges, judgment, law, right? Everybody with me? We already have Elohim and Elohim. And then it sounds like God is coming from God's holy assembly down to earth. So as one of the commentaries that I read said, now we roll up our, well, they didn't say it exactly this way, but I'm saying that the paraphrasing that after we spoke about the loftiness of God, and we spoke about Jerusalem, now we're getting down to rolling up our sleeves and doing the work of being like God in the lower realm, in the sense that judges get to, what's the word? Adjudicate. Yeah, that's a good word. Thank you. Judges, it's because it sounds like Judy, so you know the word. So judges on the earthly realm get to adjudicate, and we're going to see if we're coming out on a good side or not such a good side. Ad matai tishputu aval. Okay, here you go. How long will you judge unfairly? Ufnei reshaim tisu sela. And you'll continue to favor the wicked. Sela is kind of an emphatic, a pronouncement, doesn't mean that much, but it's either a separation or it's an exclamation. We discussed it last time. So it's not sounding good. It's sounding like God came down and found us, or the judges, wanting. Oh, Felice, when you do that, it makes me nauseous.
Wait. Is it spelling
Okay,
now?
I won't look at your screen till it gets set.
Okay. Thank you.
Shiftu dal v'yatom, show justice. I'm just going to mute you, Felice, while you're dealing with it, okay? Show justice to the poor and the orphan. Ani barash hatzdiku. So it's funny. Hatzdiku means you should justify them, but it can also mean you should judge them with tzedek, with fairly, the unfortunate and the needy. So there's already going to be a question. Why is this being highlighted? Some people ask the question, are you trying to tell me that you should judge the poor, the orphans, the needy more favorably than you do the rich or the wealthy or the important? Because we know that if you're going to judge fairly, in a way, you shouldn't look at their circumstances. Yes, Ellen.
The Tanakh.
Glad somebody
here
has something to say finally. Yeah.
has a little footnote. to
Yeah.
that, and it seems to say that it means.
Do people hear Ellen?
that it
Yes.
means lift up the head.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
Shiftu, and wait, where is that? Tisu, lift
it's
up
on
the head.
15:16.
Which
What
one?
15,
In,
16?
in the Tanakh. It's on page 15:16.
Oh, that's your Tanakh. Okay, that not everybody has yours. You have a specific
Okay.
one. So you're saying lift up which heads? Of the wicked? Or lift
I
up their
think
heads, meaning
maybe
cut
it
off the
means-
heads?
No, I think maybe it means lift up the wretched and the orphan.
Yeah, but that's weird because tisu, to lift, is on rishaim, wicked. So that doesn't make sense. The lifting is on wicked, not on the orphans. So I'm not sure.
It says judge the wretched and the orphan. And if judge at that point means lift up to some extent,
What does it give the comment on? Which part of the phrase?
I can't really tell.
Oh, you can't tell.
Because
Okay.
of my art.
Okay, lift them up. So what does that mean? So maybe lift up, by the way, if we think of it that way, here's the way I would understand it. Maybe they don't have good representation because they don't have money. Maybe they don't represent themselves that well because they're not either well educated or they're feeling poorly about themselves. I thought it was
Maybe
warm, so I
judge is
didn't
the-
dress warmly enough.
Maybe judge is the synonym
Yeah.
for the beginning of the next line, which in this translation is vindicate.
Which verse?
Verse 3, judge the wretched and the orphan, and then there's a comma, and then a new line, vindicate the lowly and the poor,
What does that mean to vindicate?
to prove their innocence.
Okay, so that's what I
So-
said, is that tzdiku could mean
So
to show, to
is being
judge
used as a
favorably.
synonym there for vindicate.
Yes, no, it's not the word judge in Hebrew, it's a tzdiku. It's a
Oh.
different word.
Oh,
Tzedek
okay.
is either justice, right up here. It's hard to know, or to be right is tzodek, means you should be right, and that's vindicate.
Right.
So that's what's unclear. Just because they're downtrodden or, poor, I mean, that's the theological or the existential kind of question, the philosophical question. So we're going to get to that. Paltu dal ve'evyon, rescue the impoverished, destitute. I guess what it means, by the way, if we said that God came down from the holy realm to check the mortal realm, and we're giving the poet is the psalmist is saying you have to vindicate or lift up. Maybe what they were doing was judging the poor and the needy and the orphan and the widow and the maybe treating them less than what, maybe not even giving them, because they're poor, because it's so easy to push them aside and treat them unfairly. That was what being done. So that's what I'm hearing here. That makes more sense, not to just because they're poor, needed, not because of that, but because they were actually being treated unfairly. And I guess wicked people, according to this, who were not poor or needy, were being judged favorably because they were charismatic, because they had wealth, because they made a better impression, because they came in a three-piece suit. I don't know, something like that. Does that make sense to people? I think that fits the text better. Miyad reshaim hatzilu, you have to save them, the impoverished and the destitute, from the hands of the wicked. Lo yadu velo yavinu, these judges do not know or understand. B'chashecha yitalachu. So if you just translate the word b'chashecha yitalachu means, and they walk in darkness, that for these sins they will go in darkness. Yimotu kol mostei aretz, and the foundations of the world will shake. So maybe it's saying that I don't know actually what it's saying, that for these sins, they will go in darkness, that they don't realize how terrible it is what they're doing. Maybe that's what it means. Yeah.
Who is they? Is they the judges?
Yeah, the judges. Yeah, these judges do not know or understand that for these sins, they will go in darkness and the foundations of the world will shake. Ani amarti Elohim atem. I have said you were, here it says angelic, meaning like God. Uvnei elyon kulchem, and you're all children of the one most high. Achen ke'adam temutun, but actually, like Adam, you will die. You're mortal. Uche'echad asarim tipolu, and you will fall as all princes do. So don't maybe this is okay. So it sounds like they're holding themselves up high. We have power. We can be like God. That's what I'm hearing here. And this is a warning against those judges. Kuma Elohim shafta aretz, God, arise and judge the world, because all the peoples of the earth are in your hands, capital Y. Okay, so
the I refers back to this Asaph person.
Asaph? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The psalmist, yes. Oh, this has to be fixed. Okay, I want to read Rabbi Sachs's commentary because I found it very beautiful. This is from the Koren Siddur. The Psalm for Tuesday is about judges and justice. Justice, the application of law, brings order to society as scientific law brings order to the cosmos. Justice ultimately belongs to God. A judge must therefore act with humility and integrity, bringing divine order to human chaos. And a judge who delivers a true judgment becomes a partner of the Holy One, blessed be He, in the work of creation. I thought that was like a much more uplifting way of talking about, he didn't, Rabbi Sachs did not spend time on the poor verdicts, but more on lifting up. Yeah, Elaine.
Oh, what page is that on in the Quran?
186. If
Okay,
you look,
thank you.
you'll see, Elaine, that at the end of davening, there's all the Psalms of the day. It's right after Aleinu. So at the end of Shacharit, so that's where it is, just so you know. Okay.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right. Let's see any comments about what we've talked about so far? I mean, some people have commented. Any more comments? I'm going to save hers till the end. I think I'll save the psalm songs, the poem till the end. Okay. Now let's go through some commentary that I found interesting. This is interesting. Do you remember when I said, let's look at verse? Looking at verse, just a minute. The second verse, Elohim nitzav ba'adat el. God almost stands at attention in an Eidah, a holy assembly of judges. They added the word judges. Ba'adat el, meaning an assembly of God-like people, which we said are the judges who are like God that they can judge. So it's interesting that based on this verse, in Pirkei Avot, which is which is the ethics of our ancestors, there is a quote that how do we know that God is found in an assembly of 10? Because of this pasuk. This is where it comes from. Because Eidah, the word Eidah, which means congregation, is used by the scouts. How many scouts were there? Anybody remember from the Torah that were
12?
There were 12, but it's referring to the scouts, Elaine, who spoke poorly about Israel. So how many were they?
10.
Perfect.
10.
Exactly. So because the word Eidah is used there, we know that must be at least 10, in this case, men. Again, in Orthodoxy, this is talking about men. In other denominations, it's 10 men or women, but we're not egalitarian in this particular issue because I think this is talking about davening. And for a minyan, we know that in Orthodoxy, you need 10 men. So this is the source for it. Just so you know, if you ever learn Pirkei Avot, the source is right here in our Psalm 82. So it's interesting how it picks apart and just focuses and zooms in on that little phrase to learn from there that God is present in a minyan of men, meaning in this case, that's for davening. I think that's where they learn about davening for 10. So it's just an interesting tidbit for us to learn. Okay. Okay, I want to read to you what Eyal Shabi said. He says, God pops by earth. I mean, he said it in Hebrew, but this is my translation. To see if the judges that God appointed on earth are doing a good job. Unfortunately, sadly, God discovers that they have fallen down on the job. But remember what we said at the end, where there's also verses about being mortal. So he says like this, perhaps today we are better. He's talking from Israel, by the way. The Jewish judges, I mean, I assume they're all Jewish. They may not all be. But anyway, in any case, the Israeli judicial system, even if today we are better and not depraved, or is there a better word? Giving poor verdicts. How would you say that? Maybe not depraved, or another word for it?
Prejudiced? No.
Yeah, but that's not what it is, that we're giving poor verdicts. Could be from prejudice, could be for other reasons, that we're doing a poor job of verdicts. He said, even if today we're doing a good job in our judicial system, we still have the question, because we still have what to learn from the psalm. Even if you did something kind or correct to someone who was in need, don't make such a big deal about yourself. You are, in the end, a mortal being. You're not God. So that's the takeaway that he takes from that. Now, who knows who Ayelet Shaked is? Ayelet Shaked is the Minister of Justice and a Knesset member in Israel from Habayit HaYehudi. And she asks this question. This is what I mentioned when we were reading it. Could it really be that we have to favor the dal v'yatom, the orphan and the poor person, and those who are downtrodden simply on the basis of their social or economic status? Well, she herself is the Minister of Justice. So it's right for her to ask this question. It feels very astute of her to slip in and ask this question. She had an article on 929, and this is where I read it. We're told in other places not to favor people for the very same reason. What are we told? Treat everybody fairly. Don't give somebody not the benefit of the doubt. That's not the word. Don't overcompensate by giving somebody favoritism, because they're in difficult economic or other situations. I mean, I think we could do that if we're understanding that they may be difficult to deal with, because we have to remember somebody who's ill or somebody who's had a very, very hard life or downtrodden or whatever it is. It's good to have some compassion for that person, but that doesn't necessarily have to do with the judge. Rather, she quotes somebody named Chaim Cohen, who might have been one of the first head justices in the Israeli court. I'm not going to quote the Hebrew. I'm going to quote him in English. And this is a really beautiful translation. Heaven itself bears witness that I do not bend the law, nor do I vindicate any poor person in judgment, unless I truly find grounds for merit in their case. Yet I acknowledge and confess that I will not rest, nor will I be still in my pursuit of justice for the poor, the oppressed, and the crushed. I will search relentlessly for a claim of merit on their behalf. I will not heed those who tell me, do not bother, there is nothing to be found. Isn't that a beautiful quote? It's really beautiful, and it really flips it on its head. It doesn't say you have to judge in their favor. It says, take your time and it's so easy to dismiss them because they don't have good representation, or because they don't have the time or the energy or the wherewithal or whatever it is to really search out the facts. Maybe do a better job, because somebody else who has the resources will be able to do it on their own. And it's too easy for us to be swayed by people who present themselves better. Would people agree with this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ellen says, oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I have to take a 1 minute break. I'm gonna let you speak, Ellen, while I do that.
Speak to me.
Yeah.
Where is the article? I don't know if you can hear, Ellen.
What? I can hear.
Where is the article that Ayelet Shaked wrote Was it 399?
No,
It wasn't
It's 5
Two-
2, I think.
599. What is it?
5 9.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
529.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
52.
I know she mentioned 529, but I don't know that that's.
Isn't that the one that Ralph Stephen always talks about?
Yes,
That has good
yes, it's Ben. I think it's
interpretations of.
Benny Lau. I think that's what he means, and I can't remember the number. 529, maybe. I don't know. I can look it up. I'll try to
I
look
thought
it
it
up.
was 929.
Oh, that's it.
You're right. I think you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
It's
529 is
929?
what we put money in for our grandchildren.
Right.
Oh, it's 929.
You're right. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Ralph Stephen gave us the link once. She went,
Oh yeah, 929.
right, there
sounds
it is. I'm giving the clip. Richard wants to know why I'm on.
Yeah, you could take over now.
No, I can't. I know nothing. But who did you say Asaph was?
Oh, he was a Levite and he was the head of the choir appointed by David. That's what I got online.
Good
Oh,
one.
interesting.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, well done, everybody.
Interesting.
What else did you discover while I was away?
That we all give money to 529s for our
Nine.
grandchildren.
929.
929,
No,
529.
529.
What's
Yeah, we couldn't
529?
hear the
Yeah,
number.
bracket
So
instead of-
yeah, it's
It's
929.
9. It's called 929, but it's in Hebrew, Elaine. That particular one was in Hebrew. I
Oh,
got it. I
okay.
translated it, but it was in Hebrew.
Oh, and
So-
Chaim Koren is in Hebrew.
No,
You
it's
can't-
not Koren, it's Kohen. And
Oh,
the name of the woman who wrote is Ayelet Shaked, the Minister
Right.
of Justice, but she wrote in Hebrew. She quoted him in Hebrew, but I translated it.
Oh, okay. It
I
was
mean, me
lovely
and
translation.
ChatGPT, we did it together.
Oh,
The psalm urges judges to seek out the argument for acquittal that might have been voiced but never was, which I think is really beautiful. Because this task is far from easy, the poet directs it particularly toward the most vulnerable in society. I really love this. I think this was maybe my favorite of all the articles that I read. I just loved this one so much. It is clear that this appeal ultimately calls for a constant searching eye for merit in every person who stands in judgment. Because it's so easy, again, for us to dismiss those who, don't have whatever the word, what was the word I was using? Oh, I think that's the end of it. To dismiss those who don't present nicely. I don't know, how would we, the most vulnerable, let's just call it the most vulnerable,
well,
who don't have the resources, whether the
To
resources
present.
of how to present themselves or present their case. Thank you, Ellen. That's helpful. So I would say that's what it would be, either how to present themselves, because, there's a book called Blink. Have people read that book, Blink,
oh, I heard.
Oh, that's by Malcolm.
by
what's
Malcolm
his name?
Gladwell? I didn't read the whole
Yeah.
book, but because it's the same
Yeah.
premise that he does. But what he says is we often, in a blink, meaning in the first 60 or 30 or 20 seconds, whatever it is, we assess someone and we make a judgment of them. Now, when you get to know someone, you have an opportunity to rethink it. But it's very
Right.
hard to move away from there. So if somebody presents poorly, it's very hard to walk that back. I remember I once had a bat mitzvah student, and she was 11. I was teaching her how to lane, and it was fine. And I mentioned to somebody who knew her from when she was a little girl that I'm teaching, and that person, perhaps because that person knew her as a little girl, said, "Oh, like, that this bat mitzvah girl is, she's not great. Whatever it is, she bossy or whatever the word."
It wasn't
entitled.
complimentary. It wasn't complimentary.
Correct. It wasn't complimentary. And I was a little surprised because I really respected this person. And also because I had spent time with the girl and I didn't notice that about her. But I really respected this person. So I took it kind of under advisement in my next couple of lessons. And I still didn't see any of what that person had told me. So I made a decision to ignore it. Just ignore what that person had told me, which I'm sure was correct and real for when that person knew the girl from a different perspective. And then I decided, or a different age, or what, maybe she changed the girl. I don't know. But I literally had to make a switch in my mind because I saw that I was being pulled to a negative place so easily because I respected, and I still respect that other person. That hasn't changed. But nobody's perfect. And I made the conscious decision, just be one-on-one with her. Just ignore, like put blinders on. Don't take what other people say. But I think that can happen when somebody presents in some way that's difficult, either their physical manifestation or perhaps something else or their circumstance. I don't know what, but we often judge people. I mean, it's hard not to. It's human nature. Yeah, Felice.
Yeah, I was just saying.
And then Ellen.
Did you say something about before? Have they done is called Kafsuchut? That's from Pirkei Avot also.
Dan lekav zchut. Yes.
Have they done?
Yes. Well, that's a little different.
No,
that's a little bit different. How would you translate that, Felice? Why don't you tell the group here?
I think it's speaking about judge should not favor anybody one over another.
No, that's not.
No. The kafsuchut is on a look at somebody with a favorable perspective in your own mind, like maybe that like they're not dressed so nicely, or they mismatched something,
or they answered you sharply or something.
Right? You should try to find some favor in somebody. Something positive.
Something positive. So what it also means is don't pass judgment quickly. Like don't give them the benefit of the doubt. That's what it is in English.
Yes.
So that's a little different from what we're saying here.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's the basic message, is that because see, the problem is the benefit of the doubt doesn't help when you're a judge.
Yeah.
The judge has to rely on actual reasoning. That's why it's a little different. I think it plays into it, like maybe that person couldn't present their case, but what it's saying here is we're actually using this as an obvious, like an axiom, that the people who are poor, downtrodden, vulnerable, the widow, the orphan, maybe not every widow and orphan, obviously, but in a general category, these people probably will not be able to present and represent themselves well. So do your best to, overturn every stone to help find something that is within the law. Don't go outside the law. But maybe what you have to assume is that what you're seeing in front of you is not the whole story. There's more to uncover. That's what I'm hearing. And that's exactly what Chaim Cohen said. That's so beautiful. I'm sure I'm going to end up quoting him some other time because it's so beautiful. Heaven itself bears witness that I do not bend the law, nor do I vindicate any poor person in judgment unless I truly find grounds for merit in their case. Yet I acknowledge and confess that I will not rest, nor will I be still in my pursuit of justice for the poor, the oppressed, and the crushed. I will search relentlessly for a claim of merit on their behalf. So that goes a little bit to what you were saying. And I will not heed those who tell me, do not bother. There is nothing to be found here. Because it's so easy to dismiss. These words just ring in my ears and I feel like they're so beautiful. Okay, I think we've exhausted that. Yeah. Oh, no, we haven't. Ellen and then Judy. Sorry. We totally have not exhausted this. Yes, Ellen.
All right. There's a line that I particularly like that talks about how I, or Asaf, or people in general, tend to elevate judges. I mean, what he says,
you're
exactly,
just mortal. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had taken you for divine beings and you're not.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really important lesson to take.
For people in power.
To people in power. I mean, especially, I guess I'm very affected by the fact that ICE killed that woman in Minnesota. But it's like,
I don't know that whole story. What was the story?
Well, it's a very conflicted story.
Not the one with the shul, right?
No, not the shul. The woman who was driving, and she was eventually going around ICE officers who were in the process of either rounding up or trying to round up immigrants. And one ICE officer just shot into the car 3 times and killed her.
Based on what?
Well,
Wow.
his version of it was she was using her SUV to drive into him. But any of the footage or most of the footage shows she was backing away from.
Wow.
But what this line reminds me of is that instantly people in the administration, Kristi Noem, J.D. Vance, instantly judged that she was an outside agitator, and
Elmer, can you just wait a few minutes? We'll finish at 12. If you don't mind, there's a class. Yeah, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock would be great. Thank you. Yeah. Well,
that she was a leftist radical and pretty much deserved what she got.
wow.
And that the ICE officer, with no investigation, no
Wow.
nothing. And I'm not saying eventually, maybe
Well, it doesn't mean
that
she
ICE
deserves it.
officer would be exonerated,
Yeah.
although to my view, it was ridiculous.
Like shoot the tires.
Yeah, but within 10 minutes, they were judging,
Mhm.
and there are people now taking up that cause that he was vindicated. And that's what I mean. We tend to look at people in power or at judges, many people, and we say, just because you pronounced it because of your position, you are correct.
Yeah.
And
We should send all those people this particular one.
yeah, we should.
Thank you.
I mean,
No, that really speaks
I
to
mean,
you.
I don't know, maybe because it's so fresh in my mind, and I'm not so appalled. I'm appalled at the conclusion they came to, but that's not what really is so distressing to me. It's that they were ready to pronounce it 10 minutes after the news got out.
Wow.
That no investigation, no nothing.
Wow. But there will be an investigation?
Yeah, if you take their word for it.
That's really
It's
hard.
going to be investigated by ICE.
Mm-hmm.
And do we have faith in that? That's what this is really saying.
Yeah.
You need.
Yep. I mean, she was killed, so you could definitely say she was the most vulnerable in the moment. She didn't have
She was
a gun.
killed. She was in a lesbian relationship.
Yeah, but they didn't know. The ICE person didn't know she was a lesbian.
They might have, because her wife
Wow.
was in the car. Her
Ay,
spouse
ay,
was
ay, ay,
yelling
ay.
at them. But she leaned out her window and said, "I'm not mad at you."
Wow.
And then he
So
killed her
hard.
anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
That feels like a police society.
Yeah, well, it does. But
Wow.
I think the other thing is that it's almost a psalm against capital punishment.
Mm.
We
Oh,
are
that's
mortals.
interesting.
Oh,
that's interesting point, yeah.
Are mortals,
Mhm.
and there is only one judge in the end, and that's not what's going on
Thank you.
here.
Appreciate that, Ellen. Very sobering, but thank you. 1 second, Felice. I see you want to talk, but I think Judy asked.
Yeah, I just had a question about translating from English to Hebrew. What is the expression "in the blink of an eye"? How do you say that?
Heref ayin.
Keheref ayin or
Not cheref, that's a chet, a hay.
keheref? You say keheref ayin?
Yeah, like the blink of an eye.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Felice, what'd you want to say? You're muted. Felice, you're muted. No, but you're muted, so we don't understand. Well, you're muted. You're muted. You're still muted. You can't, you can talk, but we
Okay.
can't hear you.
Now,
Now
so-
we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. No,
You
I
can
had-
see on your phone if the microphone is red, then we can't hear you.
I hear. Oh, thank you. Now, the thing is that I heard that the woman that was supposedly the wife was saying, "Go, baby, go," like she was like sort of edging her on. She said, "Yeah,
Egging,
go,"
yeah.
like egging her. Thank you, right? Egging her on. In other words, she was like being sort of
I
supportive
don't
of.
really want to, I'm not
No,
sure I
that-
really
yeah,
want to spend
yeah.
time on that.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
that's already, was she or wasn't she? I just wasn't aware of the situation. So of the incident. So I asked Ellen, tell me, I don't think we want to get,
no, yeah,
let's not
that's
spend
true.
too much time on that.
No,
I'm sure there's tons of media about it and it's very sad. Thank you.
yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Elaine.
There are pros and cons to everything.
Well, that's true too. Well, it's
What
hard
they
to
Ha-
see the
ha-
pros of shooting her and killing her. That
What the
feels very
psalm is
hard.
saying is
What
that
Ellen
there
was doing
needs
was
to be
connecting it to the psalm.
There needs
Yeah,
to be investigation.
There needs to be
There
investigation
needs
for
to be-
sure, for
you
sure. And what
can't
she was
just
saying is
jump to
how
it.
it connected to the psalm.
I see.
Yeah, Elaine. Did you want to say
Oh,
something?
no,
No, okay. All right, so let's continue. Anybody else have something? We lost Helen, oh well. Okay. This is Harav Yoel bin Nun. Just hold on one second. Okay, so here's what he says. It is striking that in the Torah, this is also written in Hebrew, the ideal is presented as absolute equality before the law, because we read in Shemot and Exodus and Mishpatim, I think, which is the parsha that's all about laws. Sorry, does that make sense? Yeah, it's all about laws, meaning how to treat the worker, social justice.
Social
Social interaction and social justice. You shall not favor, there actually is a pasuk that says, you shall not favor the poor in his dispute. You could look that up. It's Exodus
Yes.
23, verse 3, if you want to look that up. And yet here, there's a corrective preference that's the word that he uses. A corrective preference for how to treat. It's Exodus 23, verse 3. So Ellen's looking it up. She's going to tell us what it says. Want to read the verse to us?
Those are curious.
Not you. One second.
No,
Ellen's
no.
reading it. Okay.
Sure.
When you see the ass of your enemy
No.
lying under the burden.
Okay, not that one.
No.
Keep going. Or
Is
at
this
least
something-
not that part of it.
Los Akira, I
You
think
would
it's something.
refrain from raising it, you must nevertheless raise it with him.
Oh, so that's 23:3. So then they have the wrong quote here.
Oh, wait a
okay.
minute. No, that's 23. I told you, I can't see well.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. So let me look it up. I
No,
did not
here it is.
realize. Yeah.
Nor shall you show deference to a poor man
Mhm.
dispute.
Nor shall you show deference to a poor man in his dispute. Thank you. Thank you.
But
So-
what's the Hebrew, please? Do you know the Hebrew?
You
Well,
can look it up.
at
It's
the-
23.
yes.
I don't think Ellen is so comfortable in Hebrew.
Oh, Los Akira or something. Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know. You can look it
Uh,
up.
what-
Just take a time
Yeah,
out.
right.
Ooh,
Mhm.
I mean, I think you need,
No, they're all different. They're all, a
Mm.
lot of these verses are one after the other. Some of them connect, but not all of them connect
well,
with each
this
other.
one does.
Oh, okay. What is 2?
You shall neither side with the mighty
Ah,
to do
nice,
wrong.
nice.
You shall not give perverse testimony in a dispute so as to pervert it in favor of the mighty, nor shall you show deference to a poor man.
Got
in
it.
his
Great. So
dispute.
it tells both sides of it.
Right.
Beautiful. So here he says there's something akin to corrective preference to rescue the poor and the orphan, the destitute and the impoverished. Apparently, because of the depths of injustice and corruption they face. Okay, so now he goes back to the Psalm. So that's right. That's he's setting that within it. What happens when even the judges themselves disappoint, and then despair sets in? When the cry of the oppressed finds no listener on earth, and the cry ascends to heaven. When judges who are, remember we said they're, 1 second, I'll tell you the exact quote, the sons of the Most High, B'nai, where is it? B'nai Elyon Kolchem, look at verse 6 of our Psalm. B'nai Elyon Kolchem, you are the sons of the Most High. Close their eyes and walk. He says they walk in darkness, meaning not that they'll go in darkness because of their sins. He says they must be walking in darkness. They're not seeing the truth. They're not seeing how you should be, how you should walk in the world. Then, according to him, this is the way to learn the Psalm. Then judgment returns to heaven, to the supreme judge, to God. Like, you're done. we can't rely on you. You didn't do a good job. Now we beseech God. That's the moment when one feels the need to seek shelter. What does it say, shelter? That I don't see. To hide. Every Tuesday, Rabbi Yoel ben Nun, says, after he recites Psalm 82, he whispers to himself, please, not this. So he really takes it seriously.
That's interesting.
Please, this is not what should be in our world. That's, I kind of always said the Psalms of the day, just said them and understood the words more or less, but didn't really take a step back and look at the whole of the Psalm. And now he's saying, well, he really reads it. I mean, he's Israeli, so he understands the Hebrew well, but he's really getting it. And he's saying, please, let not this happen. And it's really sad when we see it does. So after hearing in Psalm 81, so we'd have to go back to Psalm 80 and Psalm 81, because people look at it as a continuation, but we're not going to go back and learn it. But he says in Psalm 80 and Psalm 82 is a divine response to the lament over the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, perhaps found even in Psalm 79. So if somebody wants to take the time, they can go back to 79 and 80 and 81 and see that. Okay. So he continues, this reading aligns with the prophecies of destruction from Isaiah. Through Jeremiah and Ezekiel, the loss of justice, the prevalence of corrupt judgment. So you may remember that we say that the temples were destroyed because of either not believing in God but not treating each other well, and corrupt regimes. Basically, the Kohanim, the priests, they would pay to become the high priest. That's not the way it should work. Imagine if the chief rabbi pays to become the chief rabbi. Like Hill said, I'm going to give $5 million or 5 million shekel, and then I'm going to become. That's not how you should appoint the chief rabbi or the chief Kohen, the chief priest, the head priest. That's not the way you do it. You do it over what's the values on the inside.
And most qualified.
The most qualified. So he says, so just to give you, if you want to go back to 79 afterwards on your own, that 79 is a lament over the destruction of Jerusalem. Psalm 80 is a cry about the tribes of Joseph. And Psalm 81 is a response to that. And then Psalm 82 is the absence of justice and law on earth. So now I'm going to tell you, I want to read it to you in English with his translation. Psalm of Asaph. God stands in the divine assembly among the chosen ones. God renders judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and show favor to the wicked? Selah, which could be a differentiation. Selah, judge the poor and the orphan, vindicate the afflicted and the destitute, rescue the poor and the needy, deliver them from the hands of the wicked. They know nothing, they understand nothing, they walk about in darkness, all the foundations of society are shaken. It's a different way of explaining it. This is talking about the poor and the vulnerable. They know nothing, they understand nothing, they walk about in darkness. I mean, that's why I understand it. I once said, you are gods, all of you sons of the Most High, yet you shall die like mortals and fall like any prince. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for you alone inherit all the nations. Okay, let me just see if there's one more thing I wanted to share.
Didn't you want us to read from Aronoff?
I haven't read that yet, no. Okay.
Excuse me. I just want to know who chose which day to say what. Like today's
It was the
Wednesday.
time of the temple they did it, but that's a great question. Maybe the men of the Great Assembly, who knows? Whoever set up davening. I don't think we have an exact, we just know how early it is, which I spoke about in our introduction. And I don't remember right now, but I know I have it in the introduction. We did talk about it.
And in a comparison to what was created on Yom Shlishi, the third day, with this psalm.
Yeah, so what was created on the third day? Do you remember?
I forgot. Sorry.
But doesn't say Kitov twice, also the third day? I mean, in Shemot, and in Yisro, I think.
No.
It says the word. Oh, no, the Beresh. Right. I'm right in Beresh. Right. Excuse me. Thanks. Yeah,
yes, Judy, what was created on the third day?
I don't remember.
Oh, I thought you were saying what it was. What was created on the third day? I know I have it in my notes, but I don't have it here. The dry land, the earth and the seas, and then commanded the land to produce vegetation, including grass, plant-bearing seeds, and fruit-bearing trees. This act separated the waters from the dry ground, making the earth suitable for life and established foundation for plant life. I mean, what we could say is that this separation and allowing things to grow, and this is the realm that the judges have, but it feels a little far-fetched.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. What we did say as another option, if you remember, was that the first day the name of God appeared in the first word, and the second day in the second word, the third day.
Oh.
So if we look, we see
The third day
Mikol
Elohim,
Asaf
right,
Elohim. So the
right,
third word is God's name, which is kind
right.
of cool. I don't know if
That
it
is.
holds for all of them,
Let
but
me see.
it's
What
cool.
I'm gonna read.
Well, we'll get there. We'll do that next
Okay,
time.
okay.
There's also a quote from Reverend Dr. Catherine Henderson. But it'll take too long, so you'll have to read it yourself on 929. It's written in English if you want to. But Josh Blechner, who we have quoted many times, says, I just want to say what he says, then I'll finish with Gaya's Psalm songs. So Psalm 82 opens with a description of God standing among the people and judging. But it feels ambiguous at the beginning. How long will you judge lawlessly and show partiality to the wicked? Render justice to the lowly and the orphan, deal righteously with the poor and destitute, rescue the lowly, as we said. He says there are two possible interpretations for these verses. The first, these are the words of God talking to the leaders and judges of Israel. I think that's the way we've thought about it. God asks them to stop their corrupt ways and instead deal properly with the vulnerable population. But here's another one, which I don't think that we have addressed till now. Possible that Asaph is directing these words to God. Asaph is asking God to look at God's people who are the vulnerable. And when God sits and judges, God should treat them as those who do not know or understand and walk in darkness. God should stop protecting the wicked and instead help his downtrodden nation. So this is taking it to a national, that we're the ones who are vulnerable, which I just heard a New York Board of Rabbis meeting how vulnerable we are, how people see the future. So that speaks to me as well. So that was also a nice way to leave it, that it's actually asking God. So it wouldn't be what Rabbi Yoel Ben Nun said, oh God, just not this, but rather it's asking God to step in and find justice in the world. So now let me read what she says. In God we trust to stand for justice in the courts of man and God. But here on earth, the weak are sentenced. Those with power get off, stretched to reach the drowning, overwhelmed, unfairly judged, the homeless, the helpless, the poor, and the all alone, who walk in darkness with no hope of ever seeing light. In you they trust, though you be mortal, judge or general or king, be godlike, fair to all, and pray that when you die, as they will, you'll find mercy in the court. Beautiful.
Beautiful, very wonderful.
Amazing translation. All right, my friends, that was lovely. Next time we will learn Yom Revi'i, the Wednesday Psalm. You can look that up so you'll know what it is. I will be learning it between now and then. Thanks for coming on, everybody, and keep thinking what we want to learn after.
And we said that today, Yom Revi'i. That psalm is, today's Wednesday.
When you're learning all the days of the week,
Yeah.
Felice, it's hard to make everyone fit Wednesday.
No, right now, so it just happens that way. I'm saying it was coincidentally.
We were going to hit it eventually, yes.
Yeah.
All right, be well, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buddha knows.
Bye.